has come a long way. Even on Google, I had my students last year testing by saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't know if it was spelled properly, but if you read it and break it down, it was amazing to see. And so those things are all great tools that help students.
And again, we are a school that's a little bit higher on the tech continuum. We recognize how spoiled we are. So if at any point you're having a hard time talking about what that might look like at your school, again, feel free to ask. So some of our anecdotal observations, we did collect data, which we'll get into in a minute, but some of the things that kind of made us want to start this process in the first place, through doing things like information technology nights, through conferencing with parents, through just having informal on-the-fly conversations with parents, we noticed that parents often felt disconnected from the learning that was being done with technology in the classroom. We noticed, and this was true of VHSs and Betamax before that, parents rely on their children to share their knowledge of technology with them. So it's often the children that are doing the teaching, which we'll get to, and we've really tried to capitalize on that in the work that we're doing. Some families are skeptical about the emergence of technology, or at least uncomfortable, and the classroom, and they see it as disruptive rather than augmentative. So they see it as replacing fundamentals rather than supporting fundamentals. And parents want to be more involved. So we have yet to come across a parent that says, I don't want to know how to do this.
And speaking to this point here, parents relying, sometimes also again you notice with students who have a learning disability, their communication is where they struggle. So trying to ask your child who has a communication disability or just has trouble explaining things to you, if you're trying to ask them, how do I help you with this at home, they can't get that out. So that's another one of the problems that we had parents coming up with saying, my child wants to try and help me, but they just don't know how to help me help them.
So what we decided to do as a school, we wanted to reach out to parents, to teachers and students and ask them some of the same type of baseline questions so we can kind of see where those gaps are, where those discrepancies are between those populations, because what we can probably all agree on is that when those three groups of people, students, parents, and teachers, are working together towards student success, that's when we see the most powerful results. So some of the questions we would ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you understand the role of your parents for prescribed technology? This was back when it was exclusively an assistive technology project. Again, now we're looking at all technology in the school. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you understand the types of applications and tools that are being used to enhance your students' learning? 1 to 10, how beneficial do you think the technology has been for your child? And if your child reports any frustrations with their technology, what seems to be the barrier for their usage in class?
So again, we sent out in a form, and we're actually going to give you guys a paper copy later on if you want to do a paper copy for us quickly on your way out, so we can get some more data just to help communities around. We are working with Halton School Board to try and promote this sort of program at other schools. So we just sent out a Google form that looked like this with those questions that Ryan just shared.
The form will also be at the end of the presentation. If anyone brought their own device, you can fill it out online. If you have a few minutes, we would really appreciate it.
So when we looked at some of the comparative data, and this didn't surprise me, especially with some of the junior students, you ask some of the older students, the intermediate students, they understand why they have assistive technology. And most of the parents, I was actually surprised this wasn't 100%, because sometimes parents should know that why their child has technology and why they're using a computer every day in class. So it was interesting to see that. That's my computer.
Some of the parent feedback that we received around frustrations was really, really interesting for us. So a quarter of the parents reported that technical glitches, batteries dying, headphones not being recognized, made up a lot of their child's frustrations. A lot of this has been mitigated as we move towards Chromebooks. A lot of those technical issues happen less and less frequently because you don't have the same driver installation and all that stuff that you
I know a lot of these tech glitches happen on a laptop when students were downloading games that came with malware. So the glitches were kind of caused by the student downloading things they shouldn't be. And we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but it's very interesting to see that the parents felt that the students were ostracized by having the computer. And even in a school like ours, which we are tech heavy, the student doesn't stick out as much in grades 6, 7, and 8 because the computers are being used so much. So it's interesting to see that parents thought that. 16.7% recognized or thought that technology became a distraction, and one of the most common ways that parents reported that was students that like to listen to music while they're doing their work.
they would spend a lot of time making their ultimate playlist, and that would kind of derail them for a lot of the period. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. It was nice to see a quarter reported no frustrations at all. And then too many glitches with assistive technology was an issue for some of our assistive technology using.
But that is really about 33% had the technical glitches
Right.
in the way. And then confidence was another issue, but very small.
And again, that confidence usually came from someone, because we kind of had the name of the parents, so we knew that confidence kind of came from the students who were younger. And as the older students, parents were responding, the confidence wasn't so much an issue because they've had the assistive technology for so long.
So we also collected just some statements from parents. So start with the good, start from positive. I think technology makes learning more interesting. It greatly helps with engagement. The positive being early introduction to technology can only help prepare for future learning and success in career choice. Technology has been very effective for my child's learning, and I love this one at the end. We love, he is also learning on Chromebooks just like everybody else. So this was an assistive technology using child. As it's important to be versatile on technology, he loves the tech and has been fortunate enough to have had teachers that support him in technology and to have participated in summer assistive technology camps. So in certain schools they'll offer camps.
And that's key there too, is having that teacher that's there to support and helping them understand, learn how to use their assistive technology in all aspects of the curriculum.
So we want to know from you, what have been some of your positive experiences? Hopefully you've had some positive experiences with students using technology, and what do you see as some of the biggest benefits? Is anyone comfortable sharing that from their experience? Not all at once.
Well, you see the classroom there, they're working on something as by themselves or small groups, and they get the laptops out and they connect to Google Classroom, and away they go.
Mhm.
And everything is automatically stored, and they can just pick up the next class from where they left off. And it's so easy.
Mhm.
It's just so, the ease in which they can continue the learning or their investigation or the research or prepare their presentation later with technology. It's just wonderful to see.
Absolutely.
And there are very few glitches. I mean, really, the teachers know what to do with things. Don't, start up well or the
Mhm.
password or whatever.
Mhm.
And off they go, and they enjoy it. And they will go to each other's screens to see where they're landed. And then they interconnect too. I mean, they could be working at separate.
Yeah, that's one of the best things.
And they're all together on this group
Across.
project.
Yeah, the collaboration is incredible.
Here, you take this floppy disk home today and you work on it.
Yeah, and I love that you also acknowledge the sort of organizational benefits of it. I tell parents all the time it's never been easier for kids to stay organized with some of their outstanding work. If you have all the kids kind of on Google Classroom, it will literally give them an itinerary on the side of everything that they need to be working on.
It also limits back problems because they're only carrying one binder instead of 5 binders now. So
And then just one final thing, then you hear about the next day and says, well, we were working on that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, they can all continue what they were doing in class.
Yeah, we've
at
had
home.
students on vacations working on it from Florida at night while their parents are watching TV in a hotel room, and they've done stuff on vacation, so it's really neat to see that piece as well.
Yeah, so big issues there would be the access, the accessibility of the technology, assuming that people have internet access at home, which we'll get to. The organizational, the collaborative benefits of it for sure.
My question to this is, do you find that within about, say, 10, maybe 20 years, that our school structure will be changing, whereas children will no longer be mandated to be in a physical school? Because with technology being movable and you can move it, you can be in the library and still be doing it. I'm not talking about children that are between kindergarten to grade 8, but I'm talking about grade 9s or secondary schools. Do you find that that might be an option for educators?
I still think when you look at flipped classrooms that are something that is part of some curriculum now, they still offer that. How that works is that the students do some watching videos and research sort of at home, then they come to school and they're still in the classroom, and the teacher's there to sort of be support, maybe talk a little bit about something, but then really offer support to those 4 or 5 students that really didn't get it and really need help. So you've got your 10 or 15 students that are really understanding, kind of working independently on their projects or the research. Then you've got that chance to work with those 5 or 6 students that are really struggling with the concept. That's how it's working now, but again, not Kreskin, I can't see it in the future. I would personally like to think it's not gonna go that way. You know, I think we still need to be in the classroom supporting those learners, and also there's like accountability of what are you doing at home? Is your older brother in fourth year university doing your work for you while you're gone? So I still think there's gonna have to be that accountability piece there. It's a great question, something to think about. I'd like to hope that we don't go that way though.
Yeah, but that's because we make our money off it. The blended classroom or flipped classroom model that Rich was talking about is something that the board has experimented with both at the elementary level and the high school level. At the high school level, it's much more prominent. And that's where kind of the front end loading of the learning is done online. So maybe they're watching a video of a science experiment. There's links to supplementary articles, and then they're coming in the next day and unpacking that and discussing it as a class. In terms of if we'll ever see a massive takeover, I don't think that's going to happen, certainly not in the next 10 years. But again, we're looking at situations where distance education might be the best situation for that student, right? So it'll be catered and personalized as it is now.
So looking at some of the bad, parents were controlled about some of the use of computer time. We're going to talk about that later on from a parent aspect piece. And we're not parents, by the way, so hopefully we're spot on with some of the things we say. Because it hurts the eyes, using the computer long. Student parents say they need a tutorial on what my child will be learning in terms of technology, because I know nothing from Google applications. He hasn't learned how to do graphic organizers that well with his writing. He has an LD in written expression, so occasionally kids will make comments about inanimate device. But he's used to it now, and there are way more in class. But again, tutorial for parents. Sometimes the roadblock that I don't understand in Google Docs, Twitter, etc. And then some of the negative being their limited understanding that once something is placed in any social media platform, it's there for anyone to see. So again, that piece of a student saying something online on Twitter and then not being able to take it back, or sending that image out, unfortunately, through a selfie, and then not being able to take that image back. So those are all great things that this one we talk about in class a lot, especially in the older grades. So, but these are great points coming from some of the parents. So again, same thing. Any of the negative experiences that you guys have experienced with either your child or just at your school? No names of teachers.
Yeah, specifics. Yes.
Well, with my son, he's actually in the self-contained gifted program. But in kindergarten, when they realized academically what he could do, he never learned how to print properly. Because while everybody else was tracing letters, he was reading. And he was prescribed assistive technology last year because now, well, he's in grade 4 this year. His inability to write has made it more difficult. So, the assistive technology helps in the piece that, so he can, it's easier for him to type or do the text to,
Yeah, the voice to text.
voice to type. But the concern still is that, he's 9 and really has limited handwriting skills.
Yeah, and I think everyone.
Which bugs the out of me because, at some point it's like, well, you have to at least learn to make a signature.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's my point. As a special education regional teacher, and I get a lot of kind of looks about this, and it's just my belief, and everyone has their own belief. I rarely, any of I still take notes, but most of my stuff is on computer now. And it's, for me, I try to get parents to understand, and sometimes it's hard, it's a paradigm shift, it's a mind shift that as long as you said they can make their signature later on, so even if they have checks in 10 years, we don't know that, right? The way now you can just take a picture of the check and put it in your bank. I'm still freaked out a little bit by that, but anyway. The signature piece is unfortunately disappearing. It's almost like a lost art in 10 years of the writing, right? It's sad, but when we're looking at the benefit of the students, I kind of have to get parents and teachers to understand that they're not writing because they can't put out the same ideas as they can when they're typing or speaking in. So if we want our children who are struggling with written expression with a pencil, we want to give them the best tools that are going to make them better students, make their learning better, and also make them feel confident. I had one girl a few years ago that she didn't have assistive technology, but I had an extra laptop that I gave her every day, and her parents were on board with it because she would cry every time she saw her printing, because she thought it was chicken scratch and it was the most, and she wouldn't write. And then the minute I gave her a computer, her stories went from 5 lines to this. I'm like, where did this come from? Well, I can type it, not to look at my horrible writing. And that kind of broke my heart to hear that. But I gave her the tools, and she is now thriving, and she's worked on her printing herself at home. But at the end of the day, we want to give our students, our children, the tools that are gonna make them just comfortable and more engaged and better learners. So it is, I see what you're saying, but again,
And,
you know,
and that, and the fact that, you know.
it's a paradigm shift.
But it's also trying to get him to realize that he doesn't get to talk to me in, you know, text talk.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
PLZ, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't.
That was an
That's a whole other
in-person
battle
PLZ,
right there, that's a whole
yeah.
other battle.
I know.
I think I've LOL'd a couple of times ironically, but that's as far as I've gone.
Well, he gets into every time that he has to do any writing with the certain Google Docs, he spends more time trying to figure out what cute little emojis he can like add in.
Well, here's the one good thing for you, that sort of filters out by the time they're 11 or 12, so you got a couple of years left and then you should be good.
Exactly.
I think too, even the provincial government is moving away from the requirement for the wet signature and introducing digital signature in terms of like policy and legislation, so we certainly are moving in that direction. One of the huge disadvantages, and I would even say for myself, is there really isn't a requirement to know how to spell. Because, and so I can be very articulate, and I've got two daughters who are very much the same, and then, you know, I went into a meeting the other day and had to write something on a flip chart, and oh my god, it didn't have spell check. So if I'm in that position, I can only imagine what my 13-year-old is sort of, what they'll be facing.
Yeah.
But again, it does come with that shift, but
For
there
sure.
are some fundamental skills that as you get older, you start to lose as a result of technology, because I don't need to know how to spell.
Yeah,
So it's interesting.
yeah, there's apps and extensions and all of that now.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that there is the truth to that, and I would tend to disagree. It doesn't stop at 11 and 12, having seen and actually seeing people who, I employ new people coming out from college or university, and the concern you have is, as an employer, having these people come in, there's a professional aspect that needs to be required that they don't understand.
Right.
And it's really a training situation for employers. So there is definitely, it's fantastic, the technology alert. I'm a software company that I'm the CEO at. But if they don't know how to do basic communication, if I get a resume, as soon as I have a resume come through and there's spelling mistakes, that goes to the garbage.
Yeah.
Right.
So they need to understand some of the basic fundamentals to survive. It's not the isolated school community when they want to actually get a career.
I've read articles about that, that's the same common complaint at universities and colleges. They're coming-
Absolutely.
And I was referring to the emoticons, not the LOLs.
Yeah, but the emoticons, they still put them in.
Yeah.
I see.
So, you know, but you're right, it's that same, and that's where, as teachers and educators, that it's our goal to sort of help them try to balance that, you know.
Exactly.
We
Right.
still have our spelling programs, we still talk about how words are made
Yeah.
and sounds and everything like that.
And even the writing, they don't have to be like proficient, it can be a chicken scratch, but they have to know how to do the chicken scratch.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And that's where it gets into the idea of making technology augmentative and not disruptive, right? So we want to support all the good work that we would otherwise do, but also prepare kids for working in the 21st century.
All right, so then we looked at what are the kids thinking. So these are just some of the things that they're using very quickly that are helpful with their learning. So the Google Docs, Read and Write, the Chromebooks, the Google Sites, Google Presentations, which is their slideshows, and Google Draw, which we use for some planning and some other stuff, and then other. And, oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so this is what frustrations the students have with their assistive technology. So we kind of took the same thing that we blasted out to parents and teachers, changed the language a little bit, and we're also there to clarify any of the language that we were using for them. So tech glitches were the biggest issue. At the time that we did this survey, we still had a lot of kids on some older pieces of equipment. We've since phased a lot of them onto Chromebooks, and I would be surprised if that wasn't at least cut in half this year.
And that's why the computer loading's gone down too, is because some of those kids have Chromebooks, so that would be higher as well in the past. The one thing that really sticks out for us again here is that parents thought the students felt ostracized. Doesn't appear here, right? None of the students, and that's some things that if we don't talk to our students or our children about that, you know, you don't know how they really feel. So the parents assume that the children felt ostracized because they've got this big computer no one else has. But again, our AT users didn't feel that way, so parents didn't ask and didn't talk to them about it. So it's something we'll talk about later on, that communication with your child.
Also, in today's day and age, there's a certain kind of built-in cool factor to having access to technology that we maybe didn't have the same 10 years ago.
So again, this is just some comparative data. We looked at the little different types of graphs, as you can see. So we found this nice little gas thing here, speed one or whatever. So most people agree how beneficial it is. We were actually surprised to see this. We thought all teachers would feel that way, but apparently not, and that's okay. Again, this is another one that sticks out, so that when we talk about parents having that lack of understanding of what their child is using and how to use it, students felt they had about a really, well, 7.5, or what was it again, 75% just out of 10. They did this, they felt they had a good understanding of what they're using. Parents were very low, they didn't have a good understanding of what the children was using and how to help them. So that was, again,
Which
helped
is,
prove our
in
point.
this speedometer, or whatever you want to call it right here, is really the impetus for a lot of the work that we started doing around technology.
So some of the teacher feedback, we'll just kind of gloss over quickly. Technical issues, again, was a big one. Google Apps and Read Write are beneficial. Most of the teachers felt a 7 out of 10, and you know that comes with, like, depending on your school and how much training your principal or how much training the teachers themselves are going out and doing on their own. So we had about 70% of the teachers felt fairly comfortable. One teacher felt very low. We helped that person.
We did.
So again, students clearly is not a surprise. Students are more savvy than the parents. Everyone does see how beneficial it is. The tech glitch is the biggest frustration, and again, that parents have that misconception about the stigma of AT. And again, jumping out, 40% of parents don't feel comfortable supporting at home. So again, this was a big reason why Ryan and I chose to kind of push forward with this project that we're doing.
So our plan in all of this was we really wanted to engage with all those populations and have all voices represented. We wanted the teachers, the students, and the parents to all chime in to affect the direction that we wanted to go with our project. We wanted to demystify the use of technology in the classroom for parents especially, because often, you know, how was your day today? Good. What did you do? Use computers. You're maybe not understanding the full scale and scope of the work that's being done with technology, and because that might be the case, you maybe don't feel comfortable with your ability to support at home if there's something that they have to work on. We wanted to reframe technology use as a more collaborative process. So again, engaging the parents and being able to support at home. And we wanted to, and this is kind of what all this led to, we wanted to provide replayable and responsive training in the form of a website that can be accessed by all of the stakeholders within our school. So we'll share and show you the website momentarily.
And one of the points about the replayable thing is, again, studies have shown that if a student is watching, so again, when we teach, we can't always go back over everything 10, 15 times. But if we have something as a video, student can pause it at 1.5 minutes because they didn't understand it, go back and watch that 1.5 minute 5, 6 times, oh, I get it now, and then move on. So again, these videos are there to help students, parents, and teachers learn something that they maybe are having trouble with at home or support their child.
So our success criteria for these videos, we wanted the content to be responsive to the needs of the stakeholders in the school, which we kind of ensure by making sure that we're giving parents and students and teachers a chance to request things, that we're taking advantage of those informal conversations to make lists of things that we need to sort of address in the training that we're doing. We wanted to have content that had a high rewatch value, and one of the ways that we did that was making sure that it was kind of concise and also LD friendly, because a lot of our students that were accessing it often had some kind of learning disability. We wanted to make a website that allowed for feedback to be sent automatically to the people making the content, which would be directed by us. We wanted to have it clearly organized, easy to navigate. Our ideal video length was 30 to 45 seconds for teaching a skill. And the reason for that, well, there's a few reasons. There are millions and millions of videos online about how to do stuff with Google Drive and all sorts of technology that we learn in schools, but often they're 5 minutes long, they're dense, and they're inaccessible for a lot of people. So we wanted to make it,
monotone voice.
and the purpose is basically monotone voice, so we wanted to make it snappy and concise and replayable. Clearly spoken by students, so we didn't script the students too much. The students are primarily the ones that are making the videos. We intentionally didn't script them too much. The only thing that we really did was told them not to do sort of the YouTube standards, like, what's up YouTube, it's Joshua. So we kind of had to build that out of it a little bit, both to protect their anonymity and also to give it sort of a professional value. And in the extension that we used to screencast, we wanted to protect student anonymity, which was great because what we used had a watermark over their email address in the top corner, so all the students are anonymous.
And I just like that last point goes to what you're talking, trying to teach them to get that bit of professionalism, and they're not doing that, you know, yo, yo, yo.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the benefit of this because it's flexible and responsive. We're empowering the teachers, the students, and parents all as a group of partners in learning. We're framing adults as lifelong learners, so students can see that their parents want to learn as well. So it's kind of setting them up as they get older, you know, still learning as you move on through your life. Our resources are constantly growing, living, changing, and you know, we do understand that technology changes every year and things move on and things change, so we are updating. If Read and Write just added something last week, so we're making a video for that, and then we realized something doesn't get used as much anymore, or it was a free app and now they want your money, so we stopped putting that one on, so we got rid of that. So, and again, it celebrates student learning and their individualized expertise with the technology that they're using.
So what we ended up with was the Voice AT Help Desk. So we'll actually show the website in a minute. It has changed just to Technology Help Desk because we're now working with other schools in Halton, so it's less kind of proprietary to us as a school. So we have a school in the north, we have a school in Oakville, and then also our school in Burlington kind of now working together on creating content. This is the website. You can access it at voicetech.com. The URL will be changing as soon as we get more content from the other schools, and we'll make sure that it redirects and everything for you there. So this was the basic setup that we had for the website. Again, we wanted it to be clean and easy to navigate. In the About section, you'll just find quickly kind of our mission statement, what's driving the work that we're doing with this. And then the most important section for us is the video section. So again, we wanted it to be cleanly organized, easy to navigate. The one thing that we are looking at adding is a search bar, so if there's a specific skill that you're looking for, you'll be able to get at it right away. But that was a premium feature and we didn't have money for it. So we have Learn Google Drive, Learn Google Docs, Learn Google Presentations, spreadsheets, drawings, and then calendar is a big focus for us this year as we're getting students to become more organized. And
More schools are getting away from the agendas, and Google Calendar is a great little thing. If you're familiar with Google Calendar, that they can actually share with you as a parent too. So they can create a calendar, put in their homework, share a calendar, so every time they're home, oh, you got a test today, calendar tells me. So it's a really neat tool.
And then in the Assistive Technology column there, when we first started the project at the beginning of last year, we had maybe 4 or 5 different apps and extensions. But as the year went on and the board invested more in Read and Write, we realized that it was really replacing a lot of other programs that we were using. So students still might have other assistive technology programs that they're using for a specific need, but all students in Halton have access to Read and Write. So in assistive technology, we kind of like to use the expression necessary for some, beneficial for all, and that really applies to Read and Write too. I myself use Read and Write if I'm writing something longer format to read it back to me to kind of catch mistakes like that. So I do a lot of my proofreading through Read and Write. They can also do voice to text, they can also do highlighting. There's tons of research tools that are all kind of laid out in that.
Yeah, and even like so a coworker of ours, her husband's company went on board with Google, and he started using Read and Write for his stuff too. And then going way back to the voice to text piece, when I used to tutor a child with a learning disability, he had his assistive technology, and he used Dragon Naturally Speaking, which was a voice to text program back then, and still is out now. But his dad ran his own, like a big company, and for him being in the airport traveling a lot, he bought Read and Write for himself to use to do his own presentation, stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how those things can be transferred to the adult life.
And then we had a something cool section and an app showcase section, because often kids would be like, oh, I really want to do this, but it wouldn't kind of fit neatly into one of those categories. So I think next we're going to show, oh, that's just the organization.
Yeah, we did that already. There we go.
Okay, so we're going to show a few videos just so you can get a sense of the tone and length and how the students are structuring. Again, all student voice, no scripting.
We don't have volume now. We had it.
Would you put that under technical glitches?
Yeah,
Yes,
please do. Maybe not plugged here.
Show you how
There we
to
go.
change
Perfect. All right, let's
the
start
theme
again.
on the background in a...
It's not my first rodeo.
Hi everyone, today I will show you how to change the theme on the background in a presentation. The first thing you need to know is how to make a presentation. After you know how to do that, you have to look at all the tabs above. So here we have transition, theme, layout, background, and like etc. So you have to try to find theme. You click theme. And then to the right, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can choose out of. So there's plenty to choose, and I'm going to show you quickly. So this one is called Beach Day, and it will load. And here is the background. So now you know how to change the background of the presentation.
Now you know.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
That's the one thing we couldn't get them to step away from is bye.
Yeah.
And again, if you were ever to sit in a class, you see a bunch of students come up to do presentations one after the other, they all come up there, you've been their teacher for all years, May. Hi, my name is Richard Parker, and I'm here. And then they're like, bye, and they wave and go say, I'm like, guys, you didn't do that, but anyway.
Yeah.
That's my little diatribe. All right, how to use a research tool.
Today I'm going to show you how to use the research tool on Halton Cloud or Google Classroom. First, you want to go to Tools, and then click Research. Then you can search up anything really, so you can search an image, and an image will come up. You can also search quotes if you need a quote, and then Albert Einstein quotes will come up. You can also there's dictionary, so you search up the word, and it will give you the definition of the word. So the research tool is very helpful because you can just search things right outside and then drag them onto your document.
Nice, no bye. Well done. Now, even for us to now, actually, Google is always changing, and this research tool actually is changed to Explore. So now we have to get rid
Evolved
of
to
this.
something else.
Yeah, we have to get rid of this video now.
What's it called now?
It's
called
the
the
Explorer tab, so it shows up in the bottom corner.
So, I don't think we need to go in anymore. You guys get the gist of what they were doing with their videos. We've got a whole bunch of them. So, that's sort of where the student interaction and engagement piece came in. So this was the mission statement that we had. It was a collaborative project between students and teachers to share their knowledge around technology with the world. Students and teachers would work side by side to produce videos and checklists to help all technology users develop their understanding. Ideally, this will support the parent, teacher, and student learning about the many ways technology can help us. So that was sort of our mission statement there.
So you can navigate on the website by clicking on the videos tab, or you can go directly to the YouTube channel where we have things kind of organized into packs, so you can watch a playlist of videos that are all about Google Docs, a playlist that are all about presentations. So thinking about our next steps, what will this support look like? We talked about how we're growing it and evolving it to involve more schools. How will we continue to be adaptive to as the technology changes? How can we match the speed of the changes?
So some of our next steps is what we took back from talking to teachers, parents, and students. So we want a wider age range of representation in video production. So we had mostly 7th and 8th. A couple of my grade 6s last year did that, but we want to maybe try and get some of the younger students who are really tech savvy. We want to expand some of the teacher-generated videos because, again, we've been asked at our school, because we're sort of tech leads, for helping some of the teachers. So we want to help them with some videos too, because we can't always find that time just to get together. We want to continue to go to the Something Cool section because there are some neat things out there that are sort of gaming type things, but they're also educational as well. A wider range of AT specific apps and extensions. So again, a lot of what we've done is web-based. We want to expand sort of having like maybe a video camera shooting someone on an iPad, or a document camera that we have at school, so we can show some of the iPad things out there that students can use. Because there are still some, as I said earlier, we try to generally put iPads to the younger students, but there are some really neat apps and like Explore Everything and TouchCast, which are really neat for older students as well. Continue to grow our bank of videos and meet the change in technology, and then get them organized. Maybe do like a little playlist starter package, so we'll have like a playlist on our YouTube of all your read and write videos and all your Google Documents videos and all your Google Slides videos.
Yeah, so we've got that already. We want to do kind of like a beginning, intermediate, advanced playlist. So if you feel, depending on where you feel you are on the continuum, you can get something that's interesting to you.
So what we do is, you know, as students are going to provide informal check-ins with special education teachers. we're gonna have observations during maintenance training. We're gonna honor student voices by recording some of their feedback. So again, Ryan's talking a lot of the older students that come through his class. How can we make this better? We're actually engaging my coworkers' grade 4 class to give them some because sometimes the younger students see something that older students might gloss over, or even adults will gloss over. For parents, we're offering in-person support. So again, when I talk to some of my parents who have assistive technology, their child does, I give them a chance to come in and ask me any questions if they need me to, or I'll send them a little YouTube video that I've made so they can have, here's how you do this quickly. Directing parents to that feedback section of the website so Ryan can get it in his email of how we can improve what we're doing. And then teachers, just having that open dialogue with staff, enlisting staff to collaborate in the content, creating some of the content, and teach to draw attention to the new features. So Google's, like I said, it's changing every week almost, so making sure that we're on top of it as a staff so that we can help parents and students stay on top of it as well.
So there's two ways that our resource can help you. Don't think there's any parents here from our school. So you're A, welcome to use and share the resource that we've created as much as you want. And B, if you love the idea but wish it was a little more personalized to your child's situation, you can bring that into the school and maybe promote that they're doing something similar.
And you have your teachers contact us if we have no problem communicating with other teachers on how to do this. We presented this last year in Niagara Falls to teachers, and we're still kind of getting emails from Ottawa and out of Peterborough and
New Brunswick's doing it now too.
New Brunswick.
Wow,
We're going national.
all the way in New Brunswick. Yeah. So we wanted to include also some resources for parents. Media Smarts is a great resource for everything digital citizenship, any kind of learning with technology, and it's written in a very parent-friendly way. A bunch of articles which support the idea that screencasts are a powerful way of teaching parents about technology and empowering parents as partners in technology. How can I make my parents more tech savvy? 40% of parents learn technology from their children. 10 tips for parents in a digital age. Media and digital resources for parents and helping your child succeed with technology.
One that we don't have on there that I point out, and I think one of the articles does go to it, so that's why I didn't put it on there, was Common Sense Media. They are really good, so this is a kind of away from it, but if you're ever looking for, my son wants to buy this CD, or, well, download this album now, I guess it'd be, or they want to go see this movie, or they want to read this book, you can go to Common Sense in the parent section, and it can actually give you a breakdown of what it is, and then the age for it, so you can be like, it's not a movie that's suitable for you, so it's really neat there. And these books here are a couple books that I've read, because I'm a big proponent of use of technology, but I'm a big proponent of balance, is what we're going to talk about as we wrap this up. These are just really good books. Last Child in the Woods talks about sort of nature deficit disorder. This is a guy's coined it loosely, about students just being inside too much and parents also being too scared to let their children outside. You know, we go to parks and you're allowed to run on the grass anymore because the city doesn't want to be sued because you might fall out of a tree or things like that. So it's a really neat read. There's some really good points that you can take out of that about making sure that you are getting your child outside. iMinds is a book I've actually just got halfway through. I bought this summer, and it's a bit of a book that I'm taking with a grain of salt, but I'm finding some parts of it interesting, that's why I put it in there. And it's talking about some of that addiction to technology and how, you know, you go for dinner and you see everyone like this on the phone, large fries and pot please, and then back to this. So it talks about just the addiction of technology and talking to parents about and teachers and everyone about balancing it. So those are two interesting reads. Like I said, iMinds though, I'm only halfway through it, but it's got some interesting points in there, especially with that addiction piece. So we took from some of the articles some tips. So again, treating media as you would any other environment in your child's life. So setting limits, it's okay. Like again, some people don't want to set limits with technology. We've set them at our school. So limits are fine. Kids need and expect the limits. Knowing your children's friends, both on and offline. Like, you know, when I first started teaching a little while ago, and again, I'm not a parent. My sister, I've got some nieces, and my one niece was 15 or 16, and her and my sister were getting this argument about, I should still have access to your password. And I was like, no, Denise, she's 16, she needs to be responsible. And then as I started learning more and reading more, and I was like, no, my sister's actually, I don't hate to admit this, so can we turn the video off for this piece? Or something? She was right. She had access to my niece's emails right up until she was 18, and every now and then she'd still grab her phone. She's like, I'm paying the bill, I'm going to look at this. My niece is 19 in university, and my sister still grabs that phone sometimes just to make sure she's being safe. So it's okay to do that. At first I disagreed, but I've come to her side.
I'll let her know.
You don't know her, so it's okay. And knowing what platforms, software, and apps they're using, because there are so many things that are out there. that are sketchy, and we just think they're okay because everyone's using their mom, don't worry about it. But just quickly looking at, maybe setting up yourself, set up a fake account for a day just to go through that Ask FM or whatever other things that they're using. Just have a quick peek at it and see what your child is on, so you can decide whether it's appropriate or inappropriate.
Despite our best efforts, all the work we do with digital citizenship in the school, Snapchat continues to be the bulk of the problems that kind of come back to us, yeah.
I don't know how many people have seen this, but I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. There was a news article on the National where they set up a video booth in a school and they had kids talk about open freely about what they're doing in terms of sexting and stuff like that. And
Yeah, it's
very
a scary,
enlightening.
it's a scary
Very
thing.
enlightening.
We've set out sort of questionnaires to our students, and we have taken the names off just to make them give us more honest answers. And some of the feedback we do get, you know, we're again, we are lucky, I think, in our community that we don't have too many issues, but some of the issues that we have seen creep up are, you know, our concern. And we are lucky that a lot of our students, I think, are a little naive when it comes to the sexting and stuff in our community, so we're, you know, knocking on some wood somewhere. Things are going well there, but
Just to let everybody
they
know,
go to high school and university, and then, you know, you're seeing adults.
10 minutes remaining in session A.
You're seeing adults making these mistakes on Twitter, and, you know, I do a digital citizenship talk for teachers too, and I talk about how when Facebook, Twitter, and all that came out, adults and teachers all started at the same spot. Then kids got moving ahead and making mistakes, and we are now starting to catch up because we're now starting to see the negative things that can happen. They are great tools, but using it wrong, you know, like you said, it's such a concern for parents, teachers, adults, everyone. But, you know, we need to help them understand how to navigate it properly.
Part of it is about having the conversations. I think that's the piece of it.
Yeah.
Our conversations aren't happening, and I think I want to go back really quickly to what you said earlier. It's about access, right? So they're native users.
Yeah, exactly.
They're native users. This is what they know. It's like they're my VHS, like
Yeah.
that. But it's about how to empower the parents to feel comfortable asking the questions,
And teachers, because we have some teachers that are worried about having those conversations.
You're number two.
Yeah, because you know, some teachers are, and again, I can speak from just, I did do some courses with teachers and having conversations like this with them, saying, well, I don't know if I should have these conversations with my grade 7s and 8s, and I just say, absolutely you should. It's part, it can be fit into your sex ed curriculum, that part of the health curriculum. This is where these, but it shouldn't just be that part, it should be every week.
Yeah.
I know Ryan tries to have a digital citizenship talk. I talk to my grade 4s. I pull out some things and they say, this is what someone said about whatever on Twitter. How do you think this should, and then we have a conversation about it. We have to have this
You have
conversation.
to keep revisiting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Developmentally,
Ongoing
right?
dialogue.
It shouldn't be, you know, it's like, if you want to bring it to curriculum, it shouldn't be, it's like math with multiplication, when they get to learn multiplication, it should be done every week, so the skills develop. Those conversations should be had every week.
Yeah, I think you hit it bang on. It's empowering both teachers and the parents to know what are the questions to be asking, sort of thing, because that's the struggle that they have right now, is they don't even know what to ask, right?
So how do you have a conversation if you don't know the questions?
Exactly, right? And therefore, when the answers come back, how they can guide them to an appropriate response.
We had a colleague saying that, oh, I don't think kids in our school watch pornography, and I just laughed and said, you kidding me? Like, that's part of the denial of kids have access to that so easy on their cell phones. They could be walking to school watching it, you know, like, it's so, those conversations need to happen.
But sometimes I think too, it's just even the use of the technology itself without the internet piece. Because you'll find that, you know, there might still be inappropriate use with their technology, but then well, I didn't post it anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not talking about that, we're
Yeah.
talking about the fact that, you know, there are certain things you don't take pictures of.
And that comes to that one parent. I'll get to this little slide. First thing, if you guys would like access, if you don't want access now, you can take just a little snapshot of this. No problem, come on in. So this whole slideshow can be found at that link. No problem. So if you would like access to this at a later time, if you want to share this with the people in your community or at your schools or your children's schools, this is there for you.
I'm gonna be in the way.
Yeah, you can sit right now. Just a quick bit about this presentation, Ryan. So this is Ryan Henderson. We've kind of put this together. This is generally primarily a teacher resource, but we put a parent spin on it this time because we know there are parents in here. So there will be a bit of stuff where you'll be like, oh, that's not really for us as parents, but it is something you can maybe take back to your school as well. So we do have that teacher and parent spin in on this. Hi, come on in.
And definitely adult learning model in here. If at any point during the presentation you have a question or something's not making sense, feel free to ask. There will be some formal periods of reflection throughout the presentation, but if anything's not quite clicking for you, please interrupt us as much as you need to. Morning.
You know what, maybe while we're talking, I'll write some board for other people too. So people don't have it, so we can move on. Okay, so just a quick intro about us. So that's right there by Ryan now. So, again, my name is Richard Parker. I'm a current special education resource teacher at John William Boych. And I used to teach a self-contained behavior class. And we had the accent now, just got a dog. So,
my name's Ryan Henderson. I'm an intermediate teacher. Oh.
If you haven't already made your way, workshop A will be starting at 10:30. It will go until 11:30 now. Please make your way to the upper level to your workshop. If the workshop of your choice is already full, kindly join another workshop. Thank you.
All right, and I think Terry's just flipped the sign, so we're officially full in here. So before I continue talking about myself, thank you very much for coming out on a Saturday morning. I really appreciate all the commitment to student learning and involvement in your schools. So I'm a current intermediate teacher, currently with a grade 8 homeroom class. Formerly, I was a cert and a grade 6 teacher. Initially, I had loving dog owner there just to kind of pad out the resume to make it look a little bit bigger. But then Rich added also a dog owner now. So
I just caught one, I'm excited.
I'm gonna have to add some more. And like I said before, if you have any questions at any point during the presentation, please just call out or raise your hand, whatever you're comfortable with, and we'll address that. So some of our goals for our presentation today, we want to share our story about empowering parents to feel more confident with technology. We want to present a model for supporting parents, but also teachers and students with their learning around technology. We want to break down some of the data that we've gotten from parents about how comfortable they feel with technology and compare that to some of the similar data that we've gotten from students and staff. And we want to leave you with some takeaway resources and strategies for improving your own confidence with technology, and also some things that maybe you can bring back to your home schools to promote some more advocacy.
And your homes. Just a quick gauge of, does anyone's child here have assistive technology? Okay, perfect, thank you, that's great to know.
So originally the project that we're going to be discussing for at least a part of this presentation was focused around assistive technology, but as we got deeper into it, we realized that a lot of the needs for parents around technology in general were the same as the needs for parents of students with assistive technology. So it's kind of good for everybody. The project that we're going to be discussing today is basically a help desk that we created, which is a repository of tutorial videos that are made by students, that are made by staff, and also increasingly are being made by parents in our homeschool. So through discussion and observation, we noticed that we had a growing population of assistive technology users in our school, and that's definitely true for technology users at our school, which we'll talk about in a minute. We're now one-to-one with devices from grade 6 to grade 8, so every student in grade 6 to grade 8 has access to a computer at all times during the day.
We also recognize that we're very lucky at our school, and not all schools have that, so that's something we will talk about later on as well if we get a chance to. But we do realize, again, like Ryan said, the use of assistive technology, just technology in general, is growing. It's a provincial goal, it's a national goal, and it's definitely a board goal to increase technology in classrooms. Just take a look around in here. There's technology that we're in this room as well, so it is growing in our board.
So our aim with this project was to reinvent the ways that students and staff.
Feedback was that they don't understand that once it's out there, it's out there.
That's right.
And every time something comes up in the school, it's usually something that we hadn't thought of before. We had a student making a music video in the bathroom while there was younger students in there. Only because a new app came out that allowed you to easily make a music video. So you have to keep your ear to the streets, so to speak, and be aware of technology as it's changing.
And I'd rather have those students make those mistakes in grades 6, 7, and 8 than later on in life, because once they get to be 16, 17, 18, well, there becomes even if it's an accident they didn't realize, there's a whole new set of laws that can affect them as far as, you know. So very quickly, because we are running out of time, just number 3, we talk about set limits and encourage playtime. So again, playtime meaning get unplugged, go outside, do something fun. Families could play together learn together. So again, family participation. So even on the internet, doing some little things together on there so that again they can see that, but also getting outside as well. And again, if you're playing a game with them, you're modeling, right? Like as teachers, I know Ryan sometimes gets on a Minecraft club with his kids, but he's modeling proper use, right? As soon as he sees something in the room, he stops the group and they talk about it. Be a good role model. So again, online, I don't know how many parents I see out there saying something negative. I've got, yeah, just saying something negative, but you know their kids on there too. They're swearing up a storm and saying this on Facebook about their school that their kids are at. Well, now your kid says, oh, mom and dad aren't supportive of the teacher. Awesome. So I'm going to now, yep. So being a good role model when you're online. Knowing the value of face-to-face communication. So again, this is all modeling. So again, going back to what you guys have all said, that unplugging time and not going to the restaurant, and keeping your cell phone, like, you know, my wife and I, we're constantly now, I'm trying to make, because she works in her, she's always on, you know, later at night, doing a quick email for work, I'm like, we're up for dinner, put it away, and she does. But again, as adults, we make that mistake. So if we can try and manage it ourselves, it'll help them because they're seeing us modeling it. Create a tech-free zone. So again, I've now made my kitchen table where we eat dinner or bench. That's a tech-free zone when we're eating. So the computers and phones are away. Recharging your devices overnight. You're telling your kids to keep them outside the room because now it's so easy to go access it because it's right beside my bed. So telling your kids to keep it outside. This is a great one. Don't use it as an emotional pacifier. I don't know how many times at the mall the baby's crying, dad gives them the phone to watch a video. Right there, the kid's learning at 4 or 5 months old that if I cry, I'm giving technology. I saw it last night in the grocery store. I wanted to tell the guy, come on, man, what are you doing? Apps for kids. So again, going back to what we said earlier, do your homework. Because there are so many apps out there. Oh, there it is. I did put it in here. Common Sense Media. So just looking to those, to understand those apps better. Because the kids, oh, I'm learning math game, mom. Doesn't look very mathy to me. And mathy is a word, by the way. It's okay for your teen to be, it's okay for them to be online. Because it's now part of typical adolescent development. But again, helping them learn by modeling yourself, by having their access to their technology so you can help them navigate it properly. And kids are going to be kids. They're going to make mistakes. So don't always drown, don't always take away technology, help them learn. Sometimes I know though you gotta take away technology, I get that. So that helps too. And just to wrap up what we just did there, you know, tech is a great tool, but it has to be used wisely and in moderation. You wanna help them balance between the healthy tech use, so maybe some schoolwork, some fun times, because they're gonna wanna play their video games, but then other creative outlets, get them to do drawing, making stuff, building, outside playing, exploring, playing sports, doing something. If they're not sporty, have them do some reading books instead of online book all the time. And parents, and again, maybe not in this room, but I do hear that when I talk to teachers or talk to parents, oh, I don't like to set limits. You're a parent. You have to set limits. You need to take that technology away sometime and encourage them outside because it's how they're going to learn. So we want to make sure that they are doing the balance. And again, it goes back to you want to model that balance. So don't always be on your phones. Go do the things with them because it's going to help them. And if you do have the assistive technology, it is for a purpose. So I'm really trying to get parents at my school to understand that your son cannot download Roblox or whatever it is onto his school computer. That can be done on his home computer.
Off-brand Russian Minecraft.
Yeah. Oh, that one was crazy. That's it took months to get that off the computer. So.
In closing, there's some apps and resources on the next slide there that we kind of used to put this project together. Definitely worth checking out with your child as well. Screencastify is what we made all the tutorial videos with. So even if you want to take this model as kind of an in-house project and just be like, can you just make like a 30-second video explaining how to do this for me? Quick and easy way to do it that integrates with all their Google access that they already have. Some site builders on the side, and then our website at the bottom if you just want to use our resource or take some more time to check it out later, that would be great.
And these are also things that your students, your sons, your daughters, your children could use in school. This is a website builder. This is a really cool sort of slideshow video thing. So if they're looking for ways that they want to create projects, those are neat ways too.
Session A has now been ended. Please make your way to workshop B, which will be starting at 11:35. Thank you.
So just before you do wrap up, there's one thing, we can skip ours. If you want to do, they would like to do this. This is the 2-minute conference report, just so they get feedback on what we did. Make sure you give positive feedback. If you want to do it on your phone or at home, you can do it later on. There's a QR code and a link there. But please take this with you and provide them with feedback. And we thank you very much for the presentation.